What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Plus Club for March, the show where we talk about the games that are offered to us on PlayStation Plus, play them throughout the month, and hopefully you guys had a chance to play them. This month we played Bloodborne, Ratchet Clank, and yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And a quick reminder that we are moving into a new month. So Game of the Month is now Persona 5. If you missed Game of the Month, it happened yesterday. So make sure to check that out for Enter the Gungeon. And the new games for PlayStation Plus are Mad Max and Trackmania Turbo. Also, another real fast reminder, check out the Discord down in the description. Make sure to join that and talk with us after the episode. So for March, we had two games that we played throughout the month, which was Bloodborne and Ratchet Clank. I think it's probably best if we start off with Ratchet Clank first.
Okay.
How about you start us out? What did you think of it over our general gist of what you thought of the game?
So I actually already own this game. I bought it when it first came out, and I've always been a bit of a fan. I won't say I'm like a crazy hardcore fan of the series, but I think they're fun. If I'm not mistaken, this is a reboot of the series, and you get to start, seeing Ratchet and Clank getting to meet and start their adventures. And my general impression of that is I think they really kind of nailed it as far as the reboot goes. The game has a good feel. It looks really good. They did a good job, I think, of making the story start over, and they still kept a lot of things that make Ratchet and Clank. You have all the gadgets that Clank has to offer as a support character, and you have all the weapons that level up and eventually do different things. As far as like level design stuff like that goes, I think they did a good job. Platforming feels good. The shooting, it feels like Ratchet and Clank. It's not meant to be like a tight shooter or anything like that. It's supposed to be more of like a action adventure game, platformer. So it works, and especially a lot of the weapons kind of do a lot of shit anyways. Like a good example is there's a ball you can throw on the ground and it just pulses and hits everything around it, so you don't really have to aim with that.
I'm actually glad you're kind of going into this because I forgot to do what I'd always do and describe what the game is for people who have not played it. I kind of mentally in the back of my brain assumed everybody knew what Ratchet and Clank was, so hopefully you guys know what it is.
So at least for me, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate that they took the time and effort to actually make like a full Ratchet and Clank game, because I know they were kind of tapering off there for a while. So
yeah, they completely, I thought I was dead, just like Jak and Daxter and Spyro and all those old platformer games. It was interesting for me to have access to this on PlayStation Plus, because when the game first came out, it actually got a lot of really good reviews. It came out at a decent price point. I think it was like $40 when it got released. You were picking up, and I wanted to buy it just to kind of like support it and try it out. I obviously was around when Ratchet Clank originally came out, and I played it a little bit, but I've never had an affinity for them. I've always, appreciated them. People love them, but, I wasn't the biggest fan. So going into this, I was like, it's 2017 when it came out. Maybe it's different now. Maybe it's more modern. I can enjoy it. And playing it now, I think first off, I think it looks really good graphically. Secondly, I think it does platforming really well. I think there's a really good fidelity to it. The weapons are interesting. The gadgets are interesting. Some of them I'm not a big fan of. Some of them I am a bigger fan of. Surprisingly, I was very impressed with the Pixelator, what the fuck it's called. It's a gun that it's like a shotgun, but whatever hits turns them into a pixelated version of what they were. And it's really impressive the way they did the visual for it. I shot something, and in my stream, I was like, holy shit, fucking, I did not expect it to look like that.
it's one of 3 weapons I leveled up. So,
well, and that pulsing thing you mentioned, I used the fuck out of that on bosses because I could dodge and still do damage to them. So,
that's my other weapon I spent a lot of points into.
Yeah. There's only like a couple. I went through most. I didn't beat the game, but I went through most of the game. I feel like I'm pretty close to the end. Using like 2 weapons, and finally I was like, I should probably try out the other ones because they didn't sound very exciting. And then I like unlocked them, and I was like, these are actually pretty cool. the one that turns things into, was it animals or something? Oh no, that's not what it does at all. It makes them dance.
Yes.
I was like, there's a
ball.
weapon that fucking makes them into something. Yeah, that one's okay, but it's more like just crowd control.
It is,
I guess. So
it's meant to be quirky and fun. So
yeah. Well, that was the big thing that kind of drove me away from Ratchet Clank in the first place. Was I'm like a dude who likes like shooters and like action adventure games, stuff like that. Primarily, I like everything. But the lack of like having to aim, like fine aim and shit like that, I was like, that's kind of wonky in a sense, and it's by design, of course, and it plays well. But that goes into my one gripe about the game, and it's not a fair gripe, but it still is something that keeps me from fully enjoying this game. Is it's definitely made for people who are looking for a more casual experience or children. Because the difficulty is almost not there. The whole game is fun and I enjoyed it. And like I said, I think the platform is really cool. And when I unlocked like the fucking jetpack, I was like, oh shit, this is actually really neat. And like the helicopter thing too, that's cool. It's one of the games that as you play and progress, it opens up the game more. But the game was so, aside from the boss, this lava boss I fought, he was kind of a fucking dick. But aside from that, the game was such a casual experience, and I was playing it on the normal difficulty that I almost felt uninvolved with the game. I was more so kind of looking at it, going, "Oh, this is neat." But yeah, other than that, I mean, everything else about it's really neat. I kind of wish I did buy it at full price when it did come out because I think it deserves it. But yeah, I would like to see them make more, honestly.
No, I absolutely agree with that. So
I mean, if I can give it any compliment, it's that I'd like them to make more of them because this is, like you said, kind of a retreading of something they've already done before. I'd love to see a brand new adventure with these graphics and new weapons and new ideas. That'd be fucking cool.
Well,
and
the
multiplayer
out of the way now too, and they used to have multiplayer.
Yeah. So I mean, if anything, I'd really love to fucking see more. So hopefully they made enough money to merit a legit sequel because
they're busy making Spider-Man right now, but
yeah. Not in love with it, but definitely I mean, it got my attention, so I'm into it. I want something to not even, I don't even want to use the word hook because we used that yesterday when we talked about Enter the Gungeon. Make sure to watch that episode. And that's the wrong way to put it because I did thoroughly enjoy the game. I feel like there's potential there for me to become a big fan of it if they release.
You want a little more challenge, I think.
I want a little more challenge, and I want something brand new. This was kind of like testing the waters. Like, here's the remastered version, even though it's not technically remastered. It's a whole new vision of it. But I want to see
a reboot completely.
Yeah, I want to see a modern sequel of what they probably would have done back then in 2018 or 19 or wherever it comes out. So, if anything, the game is potential, just waiting to be unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for $40,
that's a great deal for $40 when it came out.
Yeah, it's just a completely solid game. I do because I do have nitpicks myself. I just think it has way more positive than negative to this game. But some of the negatives I do have is it does feel a little easy, which isn't
really easy.
It's not really a bad thing, but it is also. Like you said, you're mostly watching, which is fine because it is story driven, which is nice. But a little challenge would be good. And
well, it's hard to explain because I don't want to be like Knack, where it's just ridiculously difficult because the game sucks.
No, for sure.
But more so, I want to feel involved.
Yeah,
it's not even like I play so many games that are just like kind of like relaxing, like Warframe, for instance, is a game I love. I never feel challenged in that. I mean, sometimes if I do something that's like some kind of like fucking special mission or something like that, but most of the time I'm just kind of like moving towards something that I'm trying to get. But the game was so not involved that like I was just more so like just kind of looking at the levels like, oh, this is neat, this is neat, this is neat. I have one more nitpick too, but you were talking.
Well, my only other nitpick is the last boss is a huge difficulty jump all of a sudden.
Well, that was the thing with the lava boss.
Yeah.
The whole game I've been like, fuck it, I was just like, oh, this is cool looking. And then I fought that dude. I'm like, wow, I'm about to die.
Yeah, and
Fuck.
because of the nature of the control scheme and how it isn't a tight shooter, when you're having to, and I don't want to talk too much about the last boss, but when you have to fight multiple things and dodge what the boss is throwing at you, there has to be some give somewhere. Either the controls need to be a little tighter, or they need to keep the pacing the way it's been, which is more of towards that casual experience, I guess. But these are like super small nitpicks. I honestly, I mean, I sat down and played all the way to the last boss. I didn't end up beating it in a couple days. So revisiting it, this time for transparency's sake, I only did the last boss a couple times to see if I could beat him. It was a bad time or bad place to try to relearn how to play the game. So the first couple tries was me just dying because I didn't know how to play, and then I started getting the hang of it, and then I remembered why I had kind of put it down, because it is a little frustrating. That fight is in particular. So I know if I really wanted to sit down and beat it, I could. I just kind of was like, I kind of got the point. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. One nitpick I had with the game as well is if the storyline is completely new or the humor is new, then it doesn't have excuse. But if it is from an older time, I think when I was doing it the stream, somebody had said that that old humor hasn't translated to now, and that might be the case, but it also might be bad writing. I think that a lot of the storyline, the storyline's fine, but the humor is not for anybody. I can't imagine anyone finding it funny. Like I don't like there's a bunch of stuff I don't find funny, but I know other people would find funny. I don't get it. It's really weird. There's like this weird like subtle blatant what should be perceived as ironic, but it's so just right there in front of you that like it's spelling it out for you like as much as possible. And like okay, so like anytime a cutscene started, I was just uninterested. And then when I got back to the game, it was fun. But like anytime like you run into that green dude, forgot the fuck his name. Yeah, whatever. The guy who's like
your
hero
idol.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like his character, like he's just a dick, and not like and not even in like a fun way or like any like he's just I don't know. I felt nothing for any of it, and not even like I'm watching something I'm not into. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. I was just like, what is this? It's really weird. So
I wish I had a better memory of the old ones at this point so I could compare the two, but I it's been so long I couldn't even do that right now if I wanted to.
because
But if I'm not mistaken, he's always been like that. So
sure, I'm just talking about on a writing standpoint, not
Well,
even him as a character,
sure.
but like the people who wrote it. Because like if you watch like a kid's cartoon or whatever, you see its kid humor. And if you watch something that's like in between, like Shrek or something like that, something for or Toy Story or something for like adults and kids, you see the humor there. And if it's for adults, you see the humor in many different variances. In this, I don't know who this was written for, because the humor kids are not going to get.
Well, they might have been lost themselves
Yeah.
because the original games, even the titles of the games were sexual innuendos most of the time. So they were definitely geared towards like teenagers.
Yeah.
And they may have tried to keep some of that, but also tried to make it a little more like for everybody. And they may have gotten lost, if I had to guess. So.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I'm not even complaining. I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
I was like playing and I'm like, who is this written for? Because like I'm really into like movies and stuff like that. So like when I play or watch or listen to anything, I have a habit of analyzing shit quite a bit, and there's a lot of patterns that a lot of people will go through. And for this, I was just not. It was not registering to me like who wrote this and for what, like who. Like it wasn't even like Life is Strange where I was like aliens wrote this makes sense for nobody, no humans. It didn't make sense. Like it's weird as fuck, but more so like the information makes sense, the words make sense, the characters, what they're saying makes sense, and I understand everything. But like, is there supposed to be charm to this? Because it's completely devoid of it. It's really weird. And it's not supposed to be an insult, just like what the fuck. So that was another thing that I noticed. But other than that, like gameplay was really fun. So, and I liked the weapons and the graphics. I also kind of wished who's the little dude, Clank. Wish there was a little bit more to him. That time he's just kind of on your back.
Yeah. And I remember in the last games, obviously they developed over the course of 3 games. So, but with them starting over, they had to kind of do that again. So I think if they did make a sequel, you would see more of that. But
Yeah. That's why I really like. That's my whole thing, man. Is like this whole game. I'm just like, I want a sequel. I want things more realized because it's cool. Like I
Yeah.
liked it. Although I forgot his name, but he's my boy. You send him out and he kills everything for you, and the whole time he just makes jokes about killing things. That guy's a fucking elite assassin.
The weapon, yeah. You summon him, and he just sits there and says things like,
I'm bored. I want to murder or something like that.
"Is here to kill you," and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, what
That
the
guy's
heck
my
is that?
dude. I love him.
I leveled him up as well, and that was one of my 4. Oh yeah, because 4 weapons. And then the other one I had was the I think it's called a magma launcher or whatever. It's just like the pistol essentially.
Yeah,
And eventually it splits into 3 shots. And
I didn't get to that point.
yeah, those are my 4 weapons I used.
The leveling system, not the level system, the progression system is
grid.
interesting too because you can kind of like it's like this like honeycomb, and like from here you can go any direction, and by the next progression it's like plus 2% of something or like plus 2 ammo or something like that, and you can keep building on that. But then there's certain ones that if you go around it and circle it, you'll unlock like a more major perk to the weapon, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of neat.
It evolves it.
Yeah.
Because in and I couldn't tell you which one, but in one of the previous entries, it was more of you just the more you used it, it would just level and it would evolve like that. In this case, you actually get to choose how it evolves. So I kind of like the system they added this time instead of just the, I guess a good way to put it, the Oblivion approach where you just, I'm getting better,
Yeah.
That's how it used to be. You just shot it and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's got another barrel on it or something, so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in this game, you actually go, well, I want that perk, so I'm going to grab it. So
Yeah, feeling a little more involved is kind of nice. The other thing's kind of interesting too, though. I haven't really seen that in a game like that before. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. I don't know if you have more to say on it.
no,
Overall, to kind of adjust all the shit I said, because I was just kind of just puking out fucking words. Like I said, graphically it's good. The platforming's good. The third person wonky on purpose action is good. Storyline's fine, but the writing I'm not a fan of. And the game is more easy than I would have liked. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Anything you want to encapsulate?
I guess a quickie version is as someone who enjoyed the other games in the series, this was it was nice to be able to play and still feel like they didn't lose anything as far as the game itself goes.
Feels like Ratchet Clank.
And yeah, it was just it felt like coming home. So it was kind of I really enjoyed my experience.
So let's jump into recommendations before we get into our grades. I would recommend it to anybody who likes Ratchet Clank, of course, but anybody who grew up in that PlayStation and post-PlayStation platformer era where you had games like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, all those kind of like PlayStation-esque platformers. If you were ever into those, this is a must. I would think it feels like a modern take on Ratchet and Clank, which is awesome. Anybody's into platformers, I'd definitely check it out as well. If you like action adventure games, I would check it out. If you like a casual fun experience and you like to just chill while you play games, I would recommend it. Yeah.
I honestly think I'd recommend this game to just about everybody just because I think it's accessible.
For sure.
In fact, I think it'd be easier to say I don't recommend this to people who are only into doing things like I only play Fortnite, I only play Madden, I only play Call of Duty. This is not your game, obviously, but anyone who's just into like video games in general, it's worth trying. So
yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but even those people, even a person who plays Call of Duty, I would say would probably. I feel like most people would enjoy this game.
Well, that's why I wanted to specify.
Yeah.
Like, if that's all, like, this is all I do is I play this.
I
one
only
game.
play PUBG. I'm not into kid games.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's going to be obviously a handful of the demographic that is just stubbornly only going to play what they play.
Yeah.
But anyone else who just like kind of plays games, like, yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. At some level, you would enjoy it. You may not like want to like care enough to go through the whole game, but I'm sure you could play and go, yeah, okay, I get it. So.
Definitely. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's grade it. I already have mine ready unless you want to go first. Go ahead.
I'm going to give the game a B plus. I think it is a solid game all around. It has a couple shortcomings and a couple things I'd like to see added. But other than that, I think for $40 when it came out, I don't know what it is anymore. You probably get it for like 20, I imagine.
Or free if you have PlayStation
If you
Plus.
have PlayStation Plus, you got it for free. It is a solid title, and especially as a game that we were given for free with our membership, it's a good title. We've gotten there's how many times do we get games where they're like, yeah, this is okay, or whatever. This is a game I would recommend people to actually buy. So yeah, I think it's a great title, and overall, B plus.
I want to be clear on one thing. Fucking, this is probably going to be one of the best months this year for PlayStation Plus. Every year we do a bracket where we vote for the best month in PlayStation Plus. I guarantee this will be in the top 4 because this month is fucking solid. We got 2 big titles, in my opinion, 2 games that I think a lot of people enjoy. One a little more niche than the other, but quality all around.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to rate this or grade it a B minus, and that is a loving B minus. The only reason I'm giving it a minus on that is because for me personally, there's some rough around the edges aspects to it, but overall, I think it is a more than competent, well-made platformer that I want to see a bright future for again. I think Ratchet and Clank is back and deserves to be back. I think it's the perfect time for it to get big again and have sequels. And this game made me think that. Like, I played and I was like, I want to see more of this. So that's awesome. I enjoyed playing it. I did want to beat it. I just didn't get around to it because, like every month, too many games come out. Otherwise, I would have beaten it for sure, which is saying something because I don't beat anything. So, yeah, I liked it a lot. Like I said, a couple things that I was like, meh about, but they weren't big enough for me to go, fuck this game. It is a fun gameplay experience for me. So, B minus, strong B minus. I wanted to give it a B, but it's a little too much for me, I guess. Let us know in the comments, what'd you think about Ratchet and Clank? Did you play it? Did you play the prior ones? What'd you think of those games? Are you a fan of these games? Are you not a fan of these games? And what would you grade it? Let me know. And yeah, second game we played this month is Bloodborne, the cousin of Dark Souls, made by From Software, third-person action-adventure game that emphasizes fucking being careful when you fight things, because if you die you got to go reclaim your blood, which was essentially souls out of Dark Souls. You guys know what it is. And yeah, we played it this month. I played it quite a bit, actually. I put a lot of time into it. Didn't expect that. I actually beat it, which is fucking crazy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Although I did not get, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I didn't get the ending I wanted. There's an ending where you got to get 3 of a certain item, and you get the right ending. I didn't get it, but I beat it. And yeah, I'll let you go first on this one. I think I let you go first on the last one too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I've said it a million times on the channel. These games are something I always appreciate and have nothing but love for, but I have a really, really hard time playing them because I don't even want to say jumpy as much as just like in my head anxious. I get too anxious about I'm just constantly thinking about when I'm going to fail.
My anxiety was fucking through the roof. We did a stream. Go check it out. Well, I don't know if I put it on the channel or not. It's on Twitch. We did a stream where Chevy played, and it was fucking stressful for me sitting there watching. I was like, oh my God, don't die.
So I played through until I think it's called the Cleric Beast, which is the first boss up on the bridge. And overall, my experience was, for what it is, was good. I really like the approach that From has to these games. They make leveling feel like it matters, even though it's so subtle of increases because you have to work so hard to get those levels. But at the same time, you don't have to have them to play the game. You just have to get better or get good.
Mm-hmm. You can play the whole game and beat it right in the beginning too, if you watch the patterns and dodge enough. So
yeah, and they took a gamble making something similar to Souls without being Souls. You could tell it was super experimental when you're playing it, and I think it worked great. We speculated this already. When they showed off the teaser for another game coming out, they're likely making Bloodborne 2.
Although From Software owns the rights to Tenchu. There's people speculating it might be that. I don't think it will be, but I
didn't realize that.
I had no fucking idea. I would love a fucking Tenchu.
Well, we're like,
God,
what are we, 2 months away from E3?
God, yeah, I'm excited. Anyway,
So yeah, the weapons, I love the gamble they took there too, where every weapon is technically like 2 weapons, which is cool. So if you have the saw weapon, you can either have it's almost like a punching weapon when it's closed up, and then it could be extended, and then it's more like a long sword. And then the other weapon I've experienced with is literally like a sword, and you have a rock on your back, and then you put the sword in the rock, and all of a sudden you have this giant hammer. So there's plenty of ways to figure out a play style that you like, which is great. There's also, the guns in the game, I think, is a neat addition. Instead of having shields, you kind of get to stun them for a second.
Well, that's something I looked into further too towards the end of the game. Is like there's certain weapons that are designed for stunning, and certain weapons that are designed for damage. There's a gun that shoots 2 bolts at once, and if you level up enough, you
blood
actually do.
tinge, right?
Yeah. But like the blunderbuss, a lot of people say to use if you're trying to stagger enemies more. So there are attributes to every weapon. There's a fucking rifle. There's a flamethrower. Flamethrower is not going to really stagger anybody. That's to hit multiple enemies.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to play.
Yeah. Well, and that's something the Souls games have done anyways. Even Dark Souls and whatnot. I mean, people will run around naked and punch things to being fully decked out, sword and shield, blah blah blah. So
Playing the game on a fucking drum pad.
yeah. So I guess just kind of summarize this real quick. I think that From did a very good job doing familiar and new at the same time, because it does feel like both, which is great. And it plays for the most part very well, minus some camera problems. So
yeah. So I've mentioned before, but I actually bought this game when it came out. Big fan.
too, actually.
Yeah, you did. Big fan of the Souls series, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, so it was a must buy for me. Played it about till the 5th boss, and then I stopped playing it for the same reasons I stopped playing every game. And so when this got called up for Plus Club, I was like, fucking dope. I have a reason to play it again. And then I played it, and I remembered why I love that game, and I had no idea why the fuck I stopped playing it. The game is awesome. It is, like you said already, it's pretty much Dark Souls. It experiments with a lot of new ideas, though. There's ways to alter your stats through these augments. Easy way to say it. It has randomly generated dungeons you can do. That's not a Dark Souls thing. I mean, it has all these systems of longevity that Dark Souls I don't think even should have. Obviously, they're done making them for now, but Bloodborne was a good excuse to take a lot of systems that Dark Souls had and try out things that a lot of modern games have, because Dark Souls takes a lot after Demon Souls. Demon Souls came out on fucking PS3. The thing that's really cool about Bloodborne is the environments and the visuals. Now, I'm a huge fan of the way Dark Souls looks, because it's a very medieval gothic look to it, and I love like just dark macabre stuff. Bloodborne has a similar look to it, but it's also very Lovecraftian. It looks like this is something that he would write. It's all based off of pretty much his writing. So you have a lot of really weird pseudo steampunk sci-fi looking shit, and a lot of vials and weird pipes and glowing stuff, and it's really fucking cool. And as you play further in the game, the environment changes, and it's just all these games, I love looking at the visuals, the environment, the enemy design is so fucking cool. It's probably my second favorite enemy design, right behind Silent Hill. Silent Hill, I think, has some of the coolest enemies I've ever seen in a game. The Soul series and Bloodborne right fucking next to it. I mean, these guys make some really fucking scary enemies. Crows that have like awful fucking just like almost barks to them. They're crawling on their chest and shit. And just enemies that are just like really fucking menacing and evil looking, which I love. Really cool design. The weapons are really neat. My favorite one I've used so far is essentially a circular mace. It's a Tesla coil, so it doesn't have a second mode. You just turn the electricity on and do more damage, and then it shuts off on its own. as usual, From Software and their fucking map design is immaculate and the top of fucking their class. I don't think anybody can plan out and make a map the same as From Software. It is so intricately designed. It's like fucking the Labyrinth. It's insane. Like, you'll come out one area and you're like, this is where I started. I've been gone for so long, and this came back out here, and I never even looked at this door and thought that's where I'd be coming out at. Mm-hmm. It's so fucking cool, and it's something that I'm still impressed with, and I've been seeing it since Demon Souls. So that's it hurts my brain when I think about that. The same as when I think about the universe. I'm like, it's too much. So From Software is just fucking top of their class on that. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's got a lot of the basic stuff that you expect from games like this. Like I said, I beat the game, which is fucking insane. Because I don't beat games very often. The one thing that I do have against this game is, and I don't have against it, it's just a weaker aspect, is bosses in this game. And of course, it's per person. It's going to be different. Some people think the bosses in this game are really hard as opposed to Dark Souls. I'm the opposite. I think the Dark Souls bosses are a lot harder. And this game, I had issues with maybe 2 of them. Most of them, it was like a one and done. I had to go in there and fight and be done with it. Towards the end of the game, they were the easiest, which is insane for me. The last boss, very fucking cool looking. Very cool looking. But really easy. The 2 bosses before that, one of the bosses, I just stood behind and hit him. I never used my health at all once.
I think a lot of that is attributed to the way you play games, though, anyways, because you tend to play fast and aggressive, anyways. And the game lends itself to that. As Dark Souls is slow and defensive, more methodical, and I don't mean this as an insult, but you are more of like impatient. Like, I want to get in there and beat the shit out of something. So.
Only in the way I fight, but in my mobility aspect. But I don't get summit fever. I watch like Josh, not talking shit, Josh, but like Josh has said that a million times. He'll like almost have a boss dead, and he like tries to hit it, and then he gets killed. I'll wait for fucking days, but I am like when I play Dark Souls, I don't really like using the shield. I like rolling around, jumping and shit. And a lot of people later in the game do that, but like I'm very like a dodgy person. When I play fucking fighting games, I like playing fast dudes who dodge a lot.
And you
shit.
Play shooters, you generally go to SMGs and stuff like that. So that's all I meant by that is you have a tendency to play that kind of style,
faster paced stuff.
And this game is definitely designed for that. As for I'm not like that. I'm very defensive when I play, so Souls is actually a lot easier for me to play.
Well, yeah, you with the shield would be great because then you can actually take the hits and then strike. Whereas in this, I mean, you got to fucking move, and you got to like plan your attack like instantly, and that's something that my brain just kind of has always been pretty good at, just wrapping around. So yeah, bosses are all awesome and all really fun to fight, but I was surprised that going through the game, I ran into like 2 people that I was like, oh, I gotta go fight them again. That was fucked. But overall, the experience was awesome. I couldn't stop playing it. I was like thinking about it constantly. I was playing other games. Like, I want to play Bloodborne. So, it was really cool to revisit it and realize again how much I really love these games. I also thought about Neo a lot though too. I want to play that again, even though I beat that. But yeah, I don't know what else I could say to it. We didn't do the multiplayer. I wanted to try that a little bit, but we didn't. I did one Chalice dungeon. It's kind of a neat system. You can start up a random dungeon, and I guess they go really deep. There's multiple levels that keep going down. I fought the first boss, really easy, but I think they get harder as you go further in. A lot of booby traps. That was the hardest part about it for me. There's like a lot of blades swinging and shit. That's not something that happens in the rest of the game. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and that just depends on the one you made too. So I've read because I follow Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne all on Reddit, and in the Bloodborne subreddit, they're always like talking about the different Chalice dungeons and stuff like that there too. And someone found one with like no enemies in it or anything. It was just hallways. So
that's weird.
Yeah,
I'd be so paranoid in that game if there's nothing there.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I'm gonna die. Someone's here. That's how fucked those games are. Is I'm just like, there's no way it's this easy. I had one more thing to say. Oh yeah, the augment system I think is neat. Kind of weird because I'm not used to that, having like have more health potions, have 5% more blood when you kill things, stuff like that. I actually didn't even know it existed till like about 2/3 through the game.
Right,
I was
I remember.
playing it, I found it, I was like, wait, this is a thing? Everyone's like, haha, you're making the game harder for yourself. I'm like,
I know Psycho kind of made a crack about like wishing you hadn't found it or something like that, or don't use it, or
I was joking. I was like, I might as well not use it because
Yeah.
fucking I went this far. But I did end up using the blood one because I was like, why would I stop myself from getting more blood to level my guy up? And yeah, it's awesome. I like the guns. I think the guns are really cool. Like you already said before, I like games that are fast paced and, you know, the gun lends itself to, you know, you're not sitting there blocking. You're jumping around, shooting people if you have to, and swinging. So I love this game. It's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot much more to say.
So
It's
I
great.
had two questions for you, but you answered one already when you said you did do a Chalice Dungeon, because I was going to ask if that's something you had touched yet. The other question I was going to ask you is, are you going to pick up the DLC?
I don't know. Right now I want to say yes, but I don't know if I'm going to play it because just if there's like a slow time that comes up where I have time to play it, I will buy it. I can't make myself buy it if I don't know if I'm going to play it though. So I haven't even bought the DLCs for Neo, and I played the fuck out of Neo. So, well, I bought one of them because I got whatever weapon came with it. So, but I'd still like to get those. But and especially with E3 coming up, and if they announce Bloodborne 2, I'm not even going to think about Bloodborne anymore, to be honest. So, I don't know, maybe, but probably not. Although I probably should, because everybody was telling me in the stream that it's a lot harder. But that's kind of like From Software does.
Oh yeah,
The Souls games, the DLCs, people are always like, this shit's fucking hard.
I say they save that, you know, for the DLCs, because then the people who are into that can have that.
They probably released the game and kind of gauge out and see how well they did and like how challenging it was. And if it, you know, if you were beat it, they're like, oh, give me fucking something more challenging. They're probably like, okay. And they just ramp it up. So, anything else you want to say on that? Okay, let's get into recommendations. I think an easy one is if you're into any of the Soulsborne games, Dark Souls, Demon Souls. If you're into Neo, if you like Lords of the Fallen, somehow you played that and didn't play these games. Any kind of third-person action-adventure game that's about challenge and kind of conquering bosses, this game is a must. You have to play this. It's part of like the legacy series of fucking Soulsborne games. If you like any game that is all about challenge and conquering, whether you're playing the second time bringing the shit up again, but like Trials or like Super Meat Boy, something like that. If you like games where like you're just like fucking want to hit your head against the goddamn controller, I don't know why you do that. This is a game you definitely want to play. Yeah, I don't know. I can't suggest it to everybody because
Hell no.
because you struggle playing it, even though I know you appreciate the games, but it's not like your cup of tea. People who are like more casual players, people who like to sit back and play a little bit of Mario or something like that, they're not gonna fucking want to play this. If you like Ratchet and Clank, you're probably not gonna dig this unless you are into both.
The
like
game
me.
gives you like no direction either. So yeah.
Yeah, if you like figuring shit out though, like not necessarily puzzles, but like you're one of those people who like likes to mentally conquer a game. Like, oh, I figured this out without looking up a guide. I mean, this game's right up your alley. And there's so many things this game does not tell you about that you just figure out and you're like, oh shit. And if you're into action RPGs with the challenge, I would check it out because the game is all about your progression and leveling. So outside of hitbox porn and skill.
Completely agree with you. The only addition I would add is if you like roguelikes. So
Yeah, that's a good one.
but yeah.
All right, let's grade it. I will go first this time. I'm going to give it a very, very strong. Want to go higher, but I think it's safe. A minus. I think this game is fucking phenomenal. I think it's a must play if you fit the right category of people who like these type of games. As a fan of Dark Souls, it's exactly what you want. It's slightly different, but slightly the same. And it's an experience that I will remember. And if someone brings it up, it's something I will want to talk about. Bloodborne is a fucking awesome game, and just another game in From Software's fucking just catalog of just expertly made, unique games that just shows like fucking just the tone and what From Software always makes. I'm a huge fan of them. Every time I think about the games they make, I'm like, dude, I'm a huge fan. Like, I love Armored Core, whatever else they made. Apparently they own Tenchu now, which I was a fan of Tenchu, but I know they didn't make the original one. That's the one I love the most. But yeah, Bloodborne's awesome. It probably deserves an A. I'm going A- only because, in my opinion, it's not as good as Dark Souls, and the bosses I wish were a little harder. But other than that, it's fucking superb.
I actually agree with you as well. I also am giving it an A-. It is a quality game. From Software is etched this nice little corner in the gaming world now of making top quality challenging games, and this is no exception to that. They took their tried and true formula with the Dark Souls series. They experimented with it, and they happened to manage, like I said before, something that feels familiar and new at the same time, and all the new stuff is welcome. Bloodborne can hold up to be its own series if they decide to go forward with it, and I don't think anyone would complain. I think everyone would rejoice, to be honest. I think you get a lot for your money when you buy. If you buy this game, obviously it was the Plus game, so if you downloaded it, you got it. Otherwise, it's worth the money. You're getting a full game that is replayable through New Game Plus, which, if it's anything like the Dark Souls games, is going to also add new things the second time you play through, and usually add some twists to some of the fights that are already in the game. So. Yeah. Besides personal issues with it, it's a great game. So
definitely. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Bloodborne? What do you think about the Dark Souls series? What do you think about these type of games? Do you play them? Do you not really fuck with them? And let me know your grade for it. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club. I do want to get Chris's takes on these, though, because I was really excited to hear what he had to say about Bloodborne. So we'll...
I'll say next Tastecast, we should ask him about Game of the Month and the Plus games.
We'll bring it up, yeah. Because he has some stuff going on right now, nothing serious, and he couldn't make it this week. So
he's just unavailable.
Yeah. So we'll ask him, because that was the big one when I heard that Bloodborne was going to be a Plus Club game. I was like, oh, cool, because Chris likes Dark Souls 3 a lot, so it's like it'd be cool to see what he thinks of it. Yeah, but that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out the streams on the channel or on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Make sure to hit the notification button so you know when I go live, and join the Discord. But until the next episode, my name's Seth.
And I'm Chevy.
Have a good weekend, and take it easy, guys.